Pittsburgh Technology Council has been helping our region's tech companies succeed since 1983. The Pittsburgh Technology Council helps its members meet new customers, hire top talent, make headlines, and have a strong voice in government. From startup to multinational, the PTC helps tech companies and advanced manufacturers of all sizes. See how we can help your venture grow at pghtech.org. That's pghtech.org. Compunetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. Every company needs to attract and keep talented people. To do it, you need a strong company story told by those who experience it every day, your employees. So invite your people to be your brand voice and let the Kindling Culture Agency gather and ignite your stories to engage and attract your people. Learn how at sparksomething.big.com. That's sparksomething.big.com. This is TechVibe Radio, your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. TechVibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savier at savier.com. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank Studios. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me here on TechVibe. It's your front row seat to all things tech and our innovation economy right here in Pittsburgh. I hope everybody's having an awesome Labor Day weekend. I do not know where the time went this year. Man, it went by so fast. I can't believe summer is pretty much over. And I tell you what, one of the funnest things I got to do this summer was put together a 3-part mini podcast series with LegalSifter, detailing how artificial intelligence is transforming the complex and just daunting world of contract management. I was hanging out with LegalSifter CEO Kevin Miller, who's someone I've known forever, and he is building this company up to do some just tremendous things. They've been leveraging AI now for, I think, about 10 years is what it's been, in order to help companies, especially law firms, being able to sift through contracts, generate contracts, all through AI. And our 3-part series that we put together was all about, like I said, how AI can just do this whole streamlining of the contract review process. And I thought it'd be a lot of fun to bring our listeners here just a nice chunk of what Kevin was talking about. But you can go and completely nerd out on all 3 episodes. Just go to where you get your podcasts and look for TechVibe Radio. You can find it right there. You'll see it right under our special, have a 1 mic stand, revolutionizing contract management with artificial intelligence. Or of course, just go to our website at pghtech.org. But you can learn so much from this, and I think you're going to be really amazed at just how powerful AI is becoming when it comes to things that are just important as contract management. I mean, this is the lifeblood of every single business. So let's give this thing a little bit of a spin, and let's relax and have some fun. Very excited to be putting together a podcast series with LegalSifter and, of course, with its CEO, Kevin Miller. And the idea of AI coming in and managing contracts is something that they've been working on for over a decade, before AI was cool. dare I say. And putting this series together, I think is going to be so much fun because it really shows how this doesn't just take over for people. It actually is complementary to people. And Kevin, hanging out with you today is going to be so much fun to kick off our first episode on this, which is going to be all around why the whole contract lifecycle management is not enough and the advantages of having AI plus the human beings involved. And we're going to learn a lot today. We're going to talk about things about the AI advantage. We're going to look at the fact that humans also have an advantage because we are free thinking as well, combining those things together and just how we can leverage that. So Kevin, thanks for hanging out with me today.
Jonathan, it's great to see you. Great to be with you again, and thank you for the support.
Most definitely. So I got to tell you what, man, we got to start off with everyone needs to know just a little bit about LegalSifter. You guys have a tremendous story. I go back and I say you guys were doing AI before AI was so cool. Because right now, like everyone's got an AI solution, of course, because it works, but you were kind of a first mover.
We really were. We got started in the summer of 2013 out of Carnegie Mellon and a venture group in town, Birchmere Ventures here in Pittsburgh, and an angel investor got behind 3 co-founders. And the hypothesis was simple. Natural language processing and machine learning, AI, had arrived. This again back in 2013. And it was going to automate routine cognitive tasks, and there were a whole bunch of those in legal. So the investors charged these 3 guys and said, "Go figure something out."
I like that. Here's some money. Figure it out.
And that's what happened. And a year later, they had the first AI contract review tool on the planet. Most people don't know that.
Wait, back up. Really, that was the first.
In the fall of 2014, they built a tool that read contracts and gave guidance to freelance software developers who never take their contracts to attorneys because, frankly, it's too expensive and too slow for those folks. And they got 4,000 or 5,000 users in 3 or 4 weeks on the back of a nice press coverage from TechCrunch. But unfortunately, at that same time, some lawyer wrote in at the bottom of that article, hey, this might be the unauthorized practice of law. And so these 3 very smart folks lost the attorney that was working with them. That attorney bolted. So they put this tool on the shelf, and they took the business in a different direction, and that was January of 15. And they went down the path of helping large companies extract and organize data from contracts, which is also now a big part of our business. And I joined the business in September of 15, a full year plus after this episode. And, you know, the company didn't have any money. It had 4 people, had 1 major client, but had done a bunch of experiments for its first 2.5 years. And but they showed me this tool that was on the shelf. And I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting, and decided to get involved.
Like, there's some potential here. And
that's right.
Just for listeners to know, I mean, your background's pretty amazing. You've got some serious tech roots here in Pittsburgh. I mean, you were with Free Markets Online, which I still think fondly of those days. I go back to the late 90s, early 2000s, and that's when things really started bubbling up here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I was really fortunate. I came to Pittsburgh for Free Markets after graduate school, and for those of you from Pittsburgh, you know that was just a tremendous story for our community, and stayed through the Ariba merger, and then found my way eventually after a nice stint at education management, actually, which also exploded, and then in good ways and bad. I was only there for the good ways part.
It did the X and the M.
That's right. And then I had 9 wonderful years at Industrial Scientific in town, where I was just treated so well and was the chief operating officer there. We grew that business precipitously on the back of software, service, and hardware. But a lot of people don't know this. We also had AI out of Carnegie Mellon, and so I've been in and around this since 2007. So when this opportunity came, it fit with what I was looking for, what my family was looking for, and we had good support, and we jumped in and didn't really know where it was going. And here we are, as a company 11 years later, me going on, 9+ years. Amazing.
That's amazing. And it goes by so quickly.
Oh my gosh, it feels like yesterday. And I feel like we're just getting started.
I know. Let's jump into the conversation.
Please.
Because the work that your company does is pretty amazing stuff, and it's solving a real problem out there, which is what I love. I like it when technology solves real problems and people want to pay for it.
Yeah, me too.
It's always
especially the last part.
It's a good way to live. You know what I'm saying? We all like like getting paid. So, I mean, let's kind of just jump into this whole topic around the fact that, what are the advantages of bringing AI in and also making that work around with the human beings in order to, manage contracts and all things around that?
Well, every quarter, every 6 months, every 12 months, I sit down and talk to our co-founder, Lars Mahler, who was there since the beginning, Carnegie Mellon grad. And we have a basic conversation that sort of looks like this. Can we build a robot lawyer yet or not? And the answer consistently is no. And so the idea that our company or any company on the planet, at least today, of course the world is turning over faster and faster, can do this without humans in the loop is frankly ludicrous in our space. Contracts have too much nuance, too much negotiation, too much of everything. It doesn't mean that's going to be true forever, but at least that's where it is today. So we intentionally have built a business that accommodates humans in the loop, both from LegalSifter or at the client.
It's interesting you bring that up because I know a lot of times a company will build something, this type of technology, being like, no, this AI is going to replace the human being. But you intentionally went out saying, no, this is something that's going to complement the human being and make their life easier and allow them to be more creative and do things humans want to do, not just read through legalese.
That's right. And it's not to say that we still don't imagine that we have built the precursor to grammar check for contracts. We would certainly love to be that. But the idea that software only can get you there, we have been testing that for 11 years, and we've concluded that we can't get there with software alone. So we made a real big strategic decision, and I've always had support of our prior board and now our current board for this strategy, which is we're going to be a software and services company, an AI-powered software company with real arms and legs, real human, and we're going to back all that with real contract expertise. And it's that triumvirate, AI-powered software, real people, lawyers, paralegals, and real expertise, contract expertise, sourced internally and externally. That magical collection of capabilities is how we've built the business. And we built it on top of a problem that my Uber driver understands. Contracts are a pain. Everyone on the planet, just about, at least certainly in the United States, understands how painful they are.
I think they're fun.
Yeah.
I love a little light reading before signing my life away.
A little indemnity after dinner. Yeah, I get it. I get it. One of my favorite meetings of all time was actually here in Pittsburgh. I was with a small group of business owners that were running $5 to $25 million companies. And this was 4 or 5 years ago. And we were kind of telling a precursor to the story we're going to tell today. And one of the CEOs raised their hand after hearing some of our story. And he said, yeah, I've been running this business as the CEO he was a glazer, I believe. So whatever a glazer is, I don't really know. And subcontractor, running a $15, $20 million business. And my memory of his comments were, yep, I still read all of our contracts after 20 years. I usually do them late at night.
When you're at your brightest and feeling your best.
Late at night while I'm watching the ball game from my chair with a glass of red wine. Not the best time to be reading things about force majeure and limitation of liability, but that's when I do it. So yeah, if there's a better way, please. So
I love it. So yeah, so this opens up my first question around the idea of the AI advantage.
Sure.
Is that AI can pick all these little things out that maybe a human can find.
That's right.
No matter if the ball game's on or someone who's operating and is drinking some red wine.
It's a pretty straightforward concept. Contracts are a pain. They're the most important document in global commerce, and they are universally hard. They are hard to read and negotiate, and then they are hard to keep track of after the fact. So the alternatives for clients and companies, and most of our clients today are companies. 90% are companies, 10% are law firms, and we're global. And they're all the same, though. If it's a small business, a mid-sized business, 60% of our business today is with companies over $1 billion. They're all the same. It takes too long to read them. It takes too long to negotiate them, and I can't keep track of the obligations that are in them once I have them. And we've, for years, lacked the tooling, if you will. Like if I'm building a cell phone, I've got all kinds of machines to help me build that cell phone. Lawyers and non-lawyers, most contracts are read and negotiated by non-lawyers and managed by non-lawyers because we can't afford to go to our law firms. And the law firms can't afford to make money on this work. we haven't had the tooling, the printed circuit board assembly machine, to prosecute these contracts. NLP, natural language processing, machine learning, going back to when I first started, can do that, and we and others have proven that over the last decade. And now, of course, with large language models, Gen AI, we can do more of that, and we can use these tools in concert with people to deliver a better outcome pre-signature and post-signature, or as we say, before you sign and after you sign. Just the same way I go into a manufacturer and instead of, doing my own printed circuit board assemblies by hand, I use a machine and I have a human supervise that. And that's the concept, is that we turn the machines, the little robots, loose on these contracts, and we help people negotiate them, automatically redline them, or keep track of their obligations after the fact.
Yeah, and you make it sound so easy because these are complicated algorithms that make all this happen. But like you said, this is technology that's actually been in production for a very long time. It's kind of crazy. I've looked back through the archives of some Tech Council magazines and periodicals going back into the 80s, talking about things like machine learning and things like that. So it's kind of that 40, 50-year overnight success story. And to think that 10 years ago that the company could see that, wait a second, there's a use for this when it comes to sorting through contracts and things like that.
And we know a lot. We've built 2,200 plus unique algorithms. We call them sifters.
I like that. Little sifters.
They're like little itty bitty sifters, little itty bitty robots that crawl all over your documents.
I love it.
And that didn't come out of thin air. We built that on the backbone of, with our clients' approvals, private contracts, publicly available contracts, and in all cases curated by lawyers, and in some cases world-class lawyers. Like we have a gentleman named Ken Adams, who's our chief content officer. He is world-renowned as the number one expert on contract drafting in the world. He's in his 5th edition of his book, The Manual of Style for Contract Drafting, which is a bestseller for the American Bar Association around the world.
How'd you land this guy, man?
That's
pretty
funny.
cool.
It was funny. It's a funny story, actually. Ken's pretty famous. He gets more people to his blog than we do to our own website. But he's our chief content officer, and he'll tell you the story. When we first came out with our AI contract review tool, we we fixed it, and then we re-released it in the summer of 2017. So we initially brought it to market in August of 2014, then it went on the shelf for 2.5 years, and then we re-released it in July of 2017. And within a month or two, we knew Ken was pretty famous. We said, we're going to have to reach out to this Ken Adams guy. And before we could even reach out to him, because we wanted to get him involved, we wanted his expertise. And before we could reach out to him, he wrote a blog post just eviscerating LegalSifter Review, our AI, just crushing it, just telling the world how it was going to be terrible and it couldn't possibly work.
And you still hired him.
No, it was even better than that. So I sent him a note. And it said something like, hey, Ken, thank you so much for the positive publicity. Would you like to actually try the tool that you just eviscerated publicly in front of the world? And to his credit, he wrote a very gracious note back, and we got together, and we've been together pretty much ever since.
That's really cool, which goes to show you it's still about the humans.
It really is.
You haven't forgotten that.
Really
that's what it's all about.
And Ken is a perfect example. He sets an extremely high bar for quality, as he should, because contracts are important business, and they're really critical, and he keeps us honest, and he has a good eye for quality. And he's just been invaluable. So one of the things that Ken's done for us over the years is he's supervised the creation of our sifters. So he makes sure that we're building stuff that makes sense. And
they're sifting the right stuff.
Right. And then he also attracts, he just started a program with the ACC where we're going to get a dozen or so more experts. And this is just a recent initiative involved in our expert analysis. And you can't do this stuff without folks who really understand what's being done on the ground, and we feel fortunate.
Oh, I love it, man. That to me is just, I love the story though. You bring these two things together because you've not forgotten the human being. They're the most important part as far as that goes. Exactly. So but let's kind of just jump into, maybe just run me through a scenario as to how like your typical customer actually uses your technology in conjunction with their human beings that are still at work. Because I think the idea of your services, it's like, we outsource our payroll and some human resources functions and things. This is like something like, this is a function every company has to have. So you plug it in and you pay the fee for the software as a service and use it and keep your contracts read and kept them sorted and keep them organized and findable, discoverable, I guess, is probably more the correct word.
It's taken a long time to get to this moment in our company, and we feel like we really have an understanding of what the market needs. The companies that we serve are of all shapes and sizes, but there's again a universal truth, and that is they have this shadow function, typically completely under-led and understaffed, and always will be, called contract operations. It's no different than manufacturing operations or sales operations or services operations or even legal operations, which is broader than just contracts. When you look inside of any map of a functional responsibility, you're going to see contracts in sales.
It's always a pleasure having you here with me on TechVibe Radio. Love spending Sunday mornings with you, bringing you the best of what is happening here in Pittsburgh's tech sector. It's just too much fun. Love being with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. For more than 40 years now, we've been helping tech companies succeed, and it's our passion. It's our thing. If you go to pghtech.org, you can learn about all the ways we help tech companies succeed. And I hope you have an awesome day off tomorrow. I hope you have tomorrow off. I know I sure do. And I'm really looking forward to a little relaxation. And hey, here's to the fall. Let Compunetics manage your business's unified voice, video, data collaboration, and conferencing needs. Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. Thanks for geeking out with us on TechVibe Radio. Tune in next Sunday for more tech and innovation stories right here from Pittsburgh. TechVibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savier at savier.com. And we're always coming at you from the Huntington Bank Studios.